Hey everybody, Chris with Willow Hikes. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome for the first time. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about how I keep track of my gear, and you may want a system to keep track of your gear because each trip's going to be a little bit different, and you may take different things on different backpacking trips, and it's nice to have an inventory of what you have so you can select from those things, or possibly if you need something else, you will know by looking at that list that you need to go out and buy something or borrow something for that particular trip. I also think there's a natural curiosity with backpackers. How much does my pack weigh? When you're out there, it can feel really heavy. And so knowing what your pack weighs, knowing what your items individually weigh can actually help you to make a lighter pack, make better decisions when you're packing, and because little things that might not seem like much add up really quickly. So I personally, in the old days, would just make a list on like a Word document. Moved to making an Excel spreadsheet to list all of my stuff, and then made a column to move things over whenever I was selecting gear for a trip. And then I would make a list from that, print it out, and I'd go through that to make sure I was packing everything I needed for that trip. Now, that's a little clunky, but it worked for me. But as time went on, I kind of considered that maybe there's a better way. So I started looking online, and there's some websites for things like this, and there's some apps. And I went through quite a few apps. I looked at a lot of them, and I landed on one that worked for me. And I'm going to share that one with you today. If that's something you're interested in, great. If not, I'm probably going to be wasting a lot of your time. But you can find similar systems, and this will give you an idea about how, or even if you want to track your gear. So something you might be interested in is knowing what your gear weighs individually, especially if you're going to inventory it and want to figure out how much weight you're carrying out there. So I would suggest getting a scale, and you're going to want something that's going to measure in grams, partial ounces, like 1/10 of an ounce. And you can find that stuff all over. And let's take a look at why that might be important. So I've got my scale here. This one's from Accuteck. I'll put a link below if this is something you're interested in. But let's say we're going to take a trip going light and fast, and I need a water filter. So I'm weighing my Sawyer Micro, 1.8 ounces. Okay. My other options are going to be the Sawyer Mini, and that one's about 1.5, 1.6. And the other option I usually take is the Sawyer Squeeze, and that's 2.1 ounces. So if I want the absolute lightest option, knowing what these weigh is going to make that decision a lot easier. Now, let's say I want to take a 3-day trip, and I know I'm going to need some battery backup to recharge my phone. So I've got one option here, which is this solar charger, which is 20,000 milliamps. And that's probably way more power than I'm going to need. And this thing weighs half a pound, 8.7 ounces. So that's a lot of weight, and I'm not going to need that much power. So I've got another option here, and this one is 5,000 milliamps. And this is my power bank. And this one weighs quite a bit less at 3.5 ounces. Now, am I going to need 5,000 milliamps? Maybe not. So if we take a look at another one here, this Pocket Juice is going to weigh probably less, and it's 2,200 milliamp capacity. So 2.3 ounces there for 2,200 milliamps. And then I've got another option here, and this one's 2,500 milliamps, and it weighs 2.3 ounces. So it's actually light and gives me a little more power. So knowing what these things weigh is going to help me make a better decision about what I'm going to bring. So weighing your gear can be tedious, or it can, be kind of fun depending on your mindset. But once I was able to find out what everything weighed, then I was able to make that list I talked about earlier. And something I found really interesting was an app that will let you do that, and it's pretty easy to use, and it's versatile. And once you front load all of your gear into there, you can do so much with it. It's great. And it's called Don't Forget the Spoon. And there's a backstory on their website about why it's called that. But basically, it's the same thing I did on Mount Shasta, which was to get to base camp, decide I was going to make my dinner, dehydrated meal, and realized I forgot my spoon. And that wasn't a fun experience. So if nothing else, having a list like this is going to help you to make sure you've packed everything you need, and you won't forget your spoon. So let's take a look at this app, and I'm just going to kind of show you what it looks like and walk you through some of the features. And I love it, and you may too. So if so, great. Leave a comment below. If you think it's stupid, leave a comment below. I really want to hear if these things are useful to you, because these are for you. So let's take a look at Don't Forget the Spoon, known as DFTS. So you can just do a Google search for Don't Forget the Spoon, or go to don'tforgetthespoon.com, or go to your app store and look for this. And opening up the app here, starts out at the pack list. These are packs I've made, and then I'm going to the gear locker. Gear locker is where all of your items are going to be stored after you input those. And as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff here. And each one you can add a picture, which is really helpful. And you're going to be able to add how much it weighs. So you can just scroll through here, or you can use the search function up there in the upper right, just to go straight to something that you might be looking for. So as you can see, this adds an inventory of everything that you enter. And so clicking on here, this is my Sea to Summit pillow, which I love. See, it's 2.6 ounces, and you can click that little scale that was on the other screen there, and that's going to show you lighter options that other people have added. So I'm going to go back here, because if you click on those, it'll take you to those items, but we'll look at that in a little bit. So just scrolling down, see all of these items that I have entered, and you can enter food as well, but I haven't really done that. So scrolling back up, we can click the Add Gear button, and we're going to add an item. So item name is the first thing there. We're going to add the kitchen sink. This kitchen sink manufacturer, if there's none, you can put something like none or not applicable or whatever. We're going to say this is made by Sink Co. What item type? You've got categories here. You can add categories as well if there are things in here. And we're just going to say this is a sink, because there was no item type that matched that. Pack category, you can add categories as well. This is going to be under the kitchen category. And then you can add your weight in here in pounds, ounces, grams, kilograms, and then share with the community. If you say yes, that's going to add to that list, like when we saw before where it looked at lighter options. So going back here to the gear locker, this is where that would be stored. So I'm just scrolling down. You could just type in kitchen. And as we can see, the kitchen sink is now in there, and it weighs 10 pounds. But we're not ever going to take the kitchen sink, so I can just delete this up there in the corner. And going back, we can see that we can also create packs. So I had a couple in there. We're going to create a pack for a day hike. So I'm naming it day hike, and the description, I'm just going to say pack for a day hike, except I need to spell that right. And then from there, you can look down. There are different tags and things you can use. I don't really use those, but then you can save it. And now we have our bag. From there, we're going to go back to our gear locker and we're going to add gear to that day hike bag. So scrolling through, I think we'll use this. Take some body glide. I'm probably going to want my chapstick, so clicking on that. Do I want a compass while I'm out there? Maybe. I've got 3 to choose from. I'm going to take this plastic flat compass I have. And just looking at other things I might want to take. First aid kit and, I don't know, maybe my Garmin inReach in case I get lost or hurt. And let's, at the end of the hike, maybe we'll read a book. So I'm going to take my Kindle with the case and see, that's 12 ounces. But so we've put stuff in this pack and now we have, if we go back, all those items when we go to the day hike pack, and it summarizes your weight and all kinds of categories. And it's really great information. If I went to the pack that I've made for the Wonderland Trail, I can see that that's 19 pounds. It's got all the gear I put in there that I want to take. It also reminds you things that you may have forgotten. It's pretty intuitive. So if you've forgotten some crucial category, it's going to give you a reminder. So you can go back and look at your list of stuff and make sure that you're not forgetting something crucial. So it's really helpful in that way. So this is just some of the items that I had added that I decided I would need when I hike the Wonderland Trail. So if we wanted to get rid of this pack, we can just go in, pull down that menu, click delete, and now that no longer exists. You can also find other people's packs, and you can search for gear that other people have added. So if I want to look into buying a stove, I can click stove on find gear. These are all stoves that people have used in this app that they've added, and you can look through here, see what they weigh, and you can click on them. It'll tell you, the same stuff that you're putting in when you enter your gear. And you can also click that little cart icon, and it's going to take you to an outside site where you can purchase that item. Maybe Amazon, maybe REI. It's a really great feature, and that way you can go there, you can look at reviews, you can look at prices, and make good decisions based on what other people are using. So it's actually a pretty cool system. So it's not just inventory, it has all kinds of features. So definitely worth a look if you're into inventorying. Now, if I have to take a bear canister, if I clicked on that little scale up there, it shows lighter options available. And then you can click on one of those. It'll take you to the site and it's going to give you options, which is a really great feature as well, especially as you upgrade equipment. You don't have to do all the research on your own. You can just click on what other people are using and see lighter options. So I could look for a lighter backpack than my CS40 from Outdoor Vitals, which I would never actually do because that is a fantastic backpack. But here's a lighter option according to the app, and this is a Z-Packs Arc Haul, and it's $400. So we're just going to go right back out of there because yuck. So all kinds of features in here. It's really great system for keeping track of your gear, seeing what your gear weighs. When I go to Mount Hood, that's going to weigh a lot more. And it's summarizing how much my clothing and sleep stuff and my pack and my shelter weigh. And it's really neat how it breaks all of that down. And of course, this is going to be a heavier pack because I've got an ice axe and crampons, but there's a look at that app. So hopefully that was helpful. If you're interested, download the app. It's a great system, at least for me. What's going to work for you? maybe something else, but I thought it was worth a share. And if you don't want to go through weighing all of your items, that's fine. You don't have to geek out on that kind of stuff. You can just take stuff and go. If you're curious about how much your pack weighs, but you don't want to go through all of that, pretty simple to just step on your bathroom scale, see what you weigh, put on your backpack afterwards, and step on that scale again, subtract the difference, and that's what your pack weighs. So that's what I used to do. And if you don't care, great, you don't care. But if you get out there and it feels awfully heavy, sometimes it's helpful to just keep track of what your stuff weighs. So when you're packing it all together, you can see that all those little things add up, and you can get an idea of where maybe you can cut weight to make it a little more comfortable without losing any comfort out there in the woods. So I appreciate you guys watching. If this was helpful, please leave a comment and let me know, because I want these things to be useful to you. And if you have ideas on something you want to know about, I would rather have your ideas than my own. So I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time.